Hello and welcome to the $1 Million Message. This is your Fearless Friday message with Callie DeBlander Brigham calling from Austin, Texas. I have been in Austin for the better part of the week, along with my husband and two of the guys that work at our family business. I've talked about it now and again. It is a restoration company here in the Gulf Coast where we live, Pensacola area. And we are a member of an organization called CORE, and it supports restoration companies around the country. And you have to be highly vetted to be part of it, and there's a lot of things that come along with it, but a lot of collaboration and support, training, resources, tech, you name it. So for the first time ever, I am learning about the restoration business, and I have been at their conference. I will tell you that it has a few similar elements to a Mary Kay seminar or leadership, but it is also vastly different. So it's been really fun to come and not know anybody and make new friends, meet new people. It's definitely male-centric, so met a lot of men, but met a few women, and just really enjoying learning some new things, excuse me, and not being the person that knows everything in the industry. So definitely, I looked around at one point. There's some general sessions and then some breakout classes, so to speak, that you get to pick, whichever topics you want to learn. And I've definitely been maybe one of the only ones taking notes. Now, they do use a lot of PowerPoints. If any of you have ever been to another conference or a trade show, so people do take pictures of the screens. But, yeah, I've been taking some notes for you. And there was 4 things that stood out to me so far. Today is our last day that I wanted to share that I thought were applicable to what we are about, and in no particular order. So the CEO and founder of CORE spoke for the first day, and I really enjoyed his transparency, his honesty, his perspective on things in industry and in the economy, et cetera. But it was funny, he started off mentioning that he had heard a phrase from one of the other restoration company owners, and I think he thought maybe it was totally unique. I don't think it is, but it was a huge aha for him, and he wanted to really kick off the conference with it, and it was that your network is your net worth. Your network is your net worth, a.k.a. you become like the 5 people you're around the most. So, but really, who you surround yourself with matters. And so here at the CORE conference, I mean, I don't even know how many thousands of restoration companies around the world, but in the United States, they have it capped with how many restoration companies that they're willing to accept to be part of this organization, because you have to have high standards and you have to do what you say you were going to do. You have to have really stellar client testimonials and responses, and you have to have infrastructure. But at the end of the day, it's important to be around like people. And I just thought, we are so blessed in Mary Kay that at any point we are able to tap into and to learn from and to also support and collaborate with the most stellar women. Your network is your net worth. So let me ask you this. How's your net worth feeling? Are you feeling productive, and are you feeling successful, and are you seeing profit? Well, then, you know what? I bet you're hanging around the right people. We could expand this to say, who's on your team? Who's in your client base? But if your net worth isn't feeling so great, might want to just take a look and say, who am I learning from? Who am I hanging around? Who am I allowing to influence me? And then who am I also surrounding myself with when it comes to my business? Okay, so that was thing number 1. I thought it was great. Thing number 2 that I heard came from a class on selling. And I went to a class called 5 Keys to Managing a High-Performance Sales Team. I was like, that sounds like a class I want to go to. And, of course, they were talking about outside salespeople that would go and do sales and marketing for restoration companies. But there were a couple of highlights that I wanted to share. And the first was they were talking about how do people make buying decisions, basically? And this was interesting. The guy said that decision makers will not change vendors. So, for example, if they already had a restoration company, they won't switch to another one. So let's use it in our terminology. If they already have a makeup brand that they like or a skincare brand they like, not a Mary Kay consultant, but a different brand that they like, most people will not change because they like someone, but they will stay because they like them. They change because of pain. There's a pain point, right? The product isn't doing what it said it would do anymore. The company doesn't have the same quality of the product. The product feels antiquated. They don't know how to use the product. They're not getting the product on time, right? So many different things. So when we think about that for what we do, the pain point is so essential. And he uses something called the solve method. I'll go ahead and give you the whole thing. Again, some of it's more applicable to us than the other, but the first one I really want you to notice. This is how we get people to buy from us, the solve method. S is surface their pain. In other words, bring their pain to the surface. We only know this by asking them, right? What are their preferences? What are their past experiences? What is their pain point? What is not working for them right now? And things used to be different. People used to sell based on this is how great I am or how great my product is. Now, that takes a secondary step to what is that person's pain point? What is it that they need? And if we can find out what they need, fewer wrinkles, maybe a foundation that matches, understanding what eyeshadows look good on them, application tools, then we've surfaced their pain. O is offer solutions. And he says offer concrete solutions, not just, oh yeah, my cleanser's better. But here's what this cleanser could do for you that sounds like it could solve a problem for you. L is leverage examples and social proof to say, you know what? One of my clients felt the same way, and here's what she used, and here's what she found, and this is what she's saying about it. V is validate with data and tracking, right? So you could say, and the cleanser, from what we understand, in 10 days it's going to feel like this. In 20 days it's going to feel like this. The use-up rate is this. This is how valuable it is compared to price point, etc. And then E is execute and build trust, which means, of course, great customer service, right? Do what we say we're going to do and do it repeatedly and do it well. But I really liked that. I thought people aren't going to change to our product because they like you. Now, that happens sometimes, okay? Let's be clear. They will stay because of how you treat them and because they like you. They're going to change because there's a pain point, and we have to know what that is. Okay, two more things. The next one was I went to a class that there's a technology that supports an emergency response plan. So this is more for commercial buildings. There's a technology that's free for the, let's say, hospital, that should they have a water damage, okay, our company could already have done and mapped out an emergency response plan, which means we know who the facility manager is to call. We know where their outlets are, where we would stage all of the equipment that needs to happen, who their other vendors, who's their plumber, and all of these would happen so that when an emergency happens, that it is so simple to be able to respond to it. And they don't have to have signed an agreement with you or a contract or anything. This is just a service you provide in the hopes that you do such a great free service for them that they would want to then partner with you and have you be their restoration company. Well, I was talking to the guy afterwards, and I said, I just love this because this is the hook. And he says, yeah, so many people in sales, they have a great product, but it just feels weird trying to make somebody agree to buy it or to hear about it. And he's like, so this just gets you in the door. And I thought, I love that because in Mary Kay, we have hooks, right? And guess what our newest, greatest hook is? The foundation finder on your website with AI. How great is that? This is your hook. Hey, this is free. This is a tool. It's going to show you exactly what color foundation would look good. Whether or not you buy it from me, that's inconsequential, but it's going to help you see what your undertone is. And are you more of an ivory? Are you more of a beige? And then if you want to use my product, you can. So I think sometimes we just need that hook to get us in the door. Okay, last but not least, we had a keynote speaker. I really enjoyed him. His name is Cameron Harold, and he actually helped make 1-800-GOT-JUNK, if you're familiar with that, into like a multi-billion-dollar company. But he was the keynote speaker, and he talked about a lot of things. But one of the things he talked about the most was having a vivid vision. A vivid vision. And he said, a lot of people will just have like words to describe their vision. But he said, go somewhere. Step away from the world. No technology. Visualize this out. What do you want? He said your company, but what do you want your organization to act like and look like in 3 to 5 years? And have really specific statements about what that looks like. And then I'm going to close with this. He said, you attract and repel when the vision is clear. You attract the right people. You repel the wrong people when the vision is clear. So that could also mean you attract the right energy, you attract the right ideas, you attract the right activity, and you repel the wrong ones, the right thoughts when your vision is clear. Okay, well, thanks for coming along with me to the Core Restoration Collective. And we can always be learners. School's never out for the pro. Have a great weekend.